In a quiet village, surrounded by whispering woods and flowing streams, lived a young boy named Ebuka. He was raised by his loving mother, a kind woman who taught him the virtues of kindness and hard work. Each day, after helping his mother with their modest home, Ebuka would venture out into the village. His afternoons were spent playing with friends and lending a helping hand to the village elders. Ebuka was curious about his father, a topic that seemed to have no answers. Each time he asked his mother about him, she would only offer a soft smile and change the subject. This mystery hung in the air, but it never dampened Ebuka's spirit. Known throughout the village for his chivalry, Ebuka grew into a humble and diligent young man. Whether he was fixing a neighbor's fence or carrying groceries for the elderly, he always acted with a warm heart. His actions spoke of a deep respect for his community, earning him love and admiration from all who knew him. One sunny afternoon, as the birds chirped lively tunes, Ebuka wandered down to the cool, glistening stream that meandered through the village. It was here he encountered Nina, a beautiful maiden with a kind smile, who was busily filling her water jars. As she leaned over the slippery rocks, she lost her footing and slipped. With quick reflexes, Ebuka caught her just in time. Nina, grateful yet embarrassed, thanked him with a blush. However, in her tumble, she had sprained her ankle. Seeing her in discomfort, Ebuka insisted on carrying her water back to her home, where he learned she lived with her doting grandmother. Nina's parents, he discovered, had passed away, leaving her and her grandmother to support each other. Over the next few days, Ebuka visited Nina to help with chores that were difficult for her due to her injury. He chopped and carried firewood, ensuring she and her grandmother stayed warm without worry. Each visit allowed them to share stories and laughter, weaving a bond of friendship that was nurtured by mutual respect and care. As the days turned into weeks, Nina's grandmother grew fond of Ebuka, seeing in him the grandson she never had. Ebuka's kindness and the gentle way he treated Nina didn't just win her grandmother's heart, but slowly it enchanted Nina as well. Sometimes Nina would spend afternoons helping Ebuka's mother in the kitchen, where they bonded over recipes and tales of the village. Then one magical evening, Nina sang the traditional song by the fireside. Her voice, clear and soothing, filled Ebuka with warmth and courage. Moved by the beauty of the moment and the deep connection he felt, Ebuka confessed his feelings to Nina. With joy in her heart and a gentle smile, Nina admitted she felt the same way. Together, by the glowing fire, they dreamed of their future, their hearts intertwined with love and hope. On a bustling market day, with the village alive with colors and the sounds of barter, Nina went to fetch some necessities. As she meandered through the stores, her path crossed with Prince Ekene, who had decided to explore the village incognito. The prince, struck by Nina's grace and beauty, paused to watch her from a distance before approaching her with a courteous greeting. Nina, surprised but composed, responded with respect. The prince, intrigued by her demeanor, engaged her in light conversation, learning her name and a little about her life. He was charmed by her simplicity and the warmth in her voice. Before parting, he extended an invitation to her to visit the palace the next day, an offer that sparkled with opportunity and curiosity. That evening, under the soft glow of the twilight, Nina shared the unexpected invitation with Ebuka. His heart sank at the thought of the prince taking an interest in Nina, yet he masked his worry with a supportive smile. They discussed the honor it could bring her and perhaps a position at the royal palace. Ebuka's encouragement, though heavy with unspoken fears, comforted Nina as she prepared for her visit. The next day, Nina, adorned in her mother's best, was welcomed into the palace with grandeur that was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. The prince, gracious and ever so persuasive, led her to the majestic halls, their walls whispering histories of the realm. In the grandeur of the palace, Nina's visits continued with courteous attentions from the prince. After their walk through the grand palace, they reached the heart of the palace where Nina was invited to the prince's reception room. As they sat, the prince ordered the maids to bring him a selection of fresh fruits for Nina. Though humble in her ways, Nina tried to politely decline, not wishing to impose, but the prince insisted. She reluctantly accepted and then shared the food while discussing various aspects of life at the palace. The prince was keen on showing Nina the best of royal living, sharing stories of grand events and the responsibilities that came with his title. Nina listened, her mind a mix of admiration for the palace's beauty and a growing unease about the prince's intentions. Their conversation flowed into the late afternoon, and they eventually strolled to the palace private garden. The prince turned the conversation towards his intentions. With a tone of confidence and anticipation, he declared his desire to have Nina as his wife. The proposal struck Nina like a cold breeze on a warm day. While flattered, she felt a deep discomfort. Her thoughts instantly turned into Ebuka, whose genuine affection was worth more to her than any royal treasure. She responded with grace, yet her words held firm resolve as she declined the prince's proposal. The prince, unaccustomed to denial, pressed further, painting vivid pictures of the luxury and power that would be hers if she accepted. He promised her endless riches and a life free from any hardship. However, Nina, steadfast in her love for Ebuka, felt only displeasure with each lavish promise. With each word from the prince, her resolve strengthened and she refused him once more. Feeling both rebuffed and intrigued, the prince reluctantly let her leave, his mind swelling with plans to win her over, no matter the cost. Nina left the palace with a heavy heart, aware that her refusal might have consequences, but comforted by her integrity and the love she held for Ebuka. She chose not to burden Ebuka with the full weight of her encounter, sparing him the details of the proposal. Instead, she spoke only of the palace beauty and the kindness he was shown, hoping to ease into the reality that her heart was already promised to another. After her unsettling visit to the palace, Nina returned to the tranquility of her village life. However, the prince's proposal continued to loom over her like a dark cloud. Despite her clear refusal, Prince Ekene was not a man used to being denied. From the shadows, he began to orchestrate his next moves. The prince ordered his guards to discreetly follow Nina. They watched her daily interactions, noting her every visit to Ebuka and her grandmother. The report confirmed the prince's worst fears. Nina was not just declining a royal proposal out of modesty, but out of love for another. Meanwhile, Nina tried to resume her simple routines, assisting Ebuka's mother with household chores and spending time with Ebuka, their bond deepening with each shared sunset. But a part of her mind remained guarded, sensing that the prince's interest in her had not waned. One afternoon, while Nina sat within while her grandmother was away, a royal carriage rolled into her quiet street, stirring whispers among the neighbors. The prince stepped out, his presence demanding attention. With a forced smile, he approached Nina, who was now standing apprehensive about his intentions. In front of curious onlookers, the prince spoke of grand plans he had made for their future together, as if a pale refusal had been a mere hesitation. Nina's heart raced as she interrupted him, stating firmly yet respectfully that she was committed to another and wished to be left in peace. The prince, his ego bruised in public, masked his frustration with a laugh, dismissing her relationship with Ebuka as trivial compared to the life he could offer. Nina, maintaining her composure, reiterated her refusal, her words echoing a strength that surprised even her. With the prince's departure, the village buzzed with rumors and speculations. Ebuka, upon hearing of the encounter, rushed to Nina's side. Seeing her distressed, he enveloped her in a comforting embrace, reassuring her of his unwavering support. As Nina and Ebuka discussed their future that evening, royal spies lingered nearby, their shadows merging with the dusk, reporting back to a prince determined to claim his desired prize at any cost. The days following the prince's visit were tense and uneasy. Nina tried to focus on her daily tasks, but her mind was often clouded with worry. Despite her steadfast refusal, she knew the prince was not a man to give up. One peaceful morning, as Ebuka was heading home after helping the villagers that same morning, he was suddenly ambushed. Royal guards, under direct orders from the prince, seized him without explanation. He was taken to the palace and locked away in a cold, dim cell, accused of crimes he did not commit. Back in the village, unaware of Ebuka's fate, Nina waited for him to return. Night fell, and there was still no sign of him. Anxiety gripped her heart. The next morning brought more confusion and fear. Nina decided to visit Ebuka, hoping to find some clues at his home. But as she approached, her heart sank. The prince himself was there. In front of Ebuka's distraught mother, the prince revealed his royal bargain. Ebuka would be released unharmed and all charges dropped if Nina agreed to marry him. He gave her 24 hours to decide, his words laced with a cold ultimatum that left no room for defiance. Nina and Ebuka's mother stood together, their tears mingling with a sense of helplessness as the prince left. His words hung heavily in the air, a showcase of his power and cruelty. Torn between her love for Ebuka and the daunting prospect of her first marriage, Nina felt trapped in a nightmare. She spent a sleepless night wrestling with the impossible choice laid before her. As dawn broke, Nina resolve hardened. She could not let Ebuka suffer because of her, nor could she betray their love. With a heavy heart, she prepared herself to make a decision that would change their lives forever, clinging to a silver of hope that somehow they could overcome the prince's ruthless plans. That's all for part 1. To catch what happens next, make sure to check the video description for part 2. Don't forget to subscribe to Flav Adventure for more amazing stories like this. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't hesitate to leave a comment below. You can also show your support by clicking on the thanks button. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more adventures. Cheers, friend.